"This isn't a place for people like you. Maybe you're lost?" the woman said, with a cold smirk, her eyes scanning the girl dismissively. "You can't just walk in here and pretend you belong," she sneered, her tone dripping with condescension. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in San Diego, and the boutique hummed with quiet luxury. Sunlight streamed through the glass windows, glinting off polished floors and high-end displays. Shoppers browsed the racks of designer clothing, their conversations blending softly with the jazz music floating through the air. Everything about the boutique screamed exclusivity, from the curated racks to the subtle scent of vanilla and cedar lingering in the air. Lila, a 12-year-old black girl, wandered through the boutique, her worn sneakers squeaking softly on the pristine floor. She wore a hoodie and jeans, simple, comfortable, and practical. Her wide, curious eyes roamed over the delicate scarves and expensive handbags, fingers brushing the soft fabrics tentatively. She was quiet and deliberate, not disturbing a thing. Behind the counter, the sales staff exchanged glances. No words were spoken, but their expressions were loud enough. She didn't look like she belonged. The boutique turned toward the entrance. A tall black man in an immaculate navy blue suit stepped inside. His presence was magnetic, his sharp jawline and broad shoulders exuding quiet authority. His polished shoes thudded softly against the floor as he approached. He stopped beside Lila, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "I'm her father," he said, his gaze piercing through the woman's bravado. The woman faltered, clearly unprepared for this turn of events. I didn't mean—" "You didn't mean to what?" he interrupted, his voice calm but cutting. "Judge my daughter? Assume she didn't belong because of how she looks?" The room was silent. The other shoppers exchanged glances, discomfort visible on their faces. "I didn't realize," the woman stammered, but the man didn't let her finish. "You didn't realize because you didn't stop to think," he said. "You looked at her and made a decision without knowing a single thing about her." The woman flushed. I didn't mean any harm," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Harm doesn't have to be intentional to exist," he replied. "You judged her because of her age, her clothes, and the color of her skin. That's the truth, isn't it?" A woman entered the boutique, her heels clicking with authority. She was tall, sharp, and intimidating, with a perfect platinum bob and a pearl necklace resting against her tailored blazer. She didn't come to shop. Her eyes immediately landed on Lila, narrowing with suspicion. As Lila reached for a silk scarf, the woman's irritation boiled over. Her heels clacked as she strode purposefully toward the girl, her shadow looming over Lila. "Excuse me," she said, her tone dripping with disdain. "Can I help you?" Startled but composed, Leela turned to her, her voice calm. "No, thank you. I'm just looking." "Looking?" The woman's lips pursed. "This isn't the kind of store you just look in." The air in the boutique thickened, the once lively conversations now hushed whispers. Lila didn't flinch. "I'm waiting for my dad," she said firmly. The woman crossed her arms. "Your dad? In here?" Her voice was louder now, inviting others to notice the interaction. "I don't think you belong here." Lila's face remained steady, though her grip on the scarf tightened. "I have every right to be here," she said, her voice unwavering. "And who exactly is your father?" the woman pressed, her tone condescending. Before Lila could respond, a deep voice cut through the boutique, firm and commanding. "Right here." The woman opened her mouth to deny it, but couldn't. Her silence was answer enough. "I'm the CEO of the company that owns this boutique," the man said, his words slicing through the tension like a knife. Gasps rippled through the boutique. The woman's face turned crimson. "I didn't know," she mumbled. "No, you didn't," he said, "and that's the problem." Turning to Lila, he gave her a gentle smile. "Are you ready to go, sweetheart?" "Yes, Dad," she said, her voice steady but tinged with pride. As they walked out, the boutique was left in stunned silence. The woman stood frozen, her earlier confidence replaced by shame. Shoppers whispered among themselves, their eyes darting between her and the door where Lila and her father had just exited. Outside, Lila looked up at her father. "Do things like that happen a lot?" Her father sighed, his face softening. "Sometimes," he admitted. "But what matters is how you handle it. Always know your worth, Lila. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't belong." She smiled faintly, nodding. I won't. As they drove away, the boutique doors swung open again. The woman stepped outside, her face still red with embarrassment, watching the car disappear. Something in her expression hinted at self-reflection. Whether she'd change or not, only time would tell. But inside the boutique, the ripples of what had happened were already spreading. Silent reminders that assumptions could never determine someone's worth.